Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you another geode cake. I know I've done a lot of them, but I keep saying and will always say they never get old. So this one is a little bit different of a take on the placement of the actual geodes. So let's get right to it. We're going to go ahead and do our final coats of buttercream on our cakes. They're already filled and crumb coated, and the sizes for this cake was 6-inch on the top, 8-inch in the middle, and a 10-inch on the bottom tier. Each tier had 3 layers of cake and 2 layers of filling. And I'm using my Crusting American Buttercream recipe that I will try to remember to link down below. And if you don't see it there and you're wanting it, I do have a video already on that buttercream. It's back a little ways, but if you scroll down, you will find them. Now, since this is a white background, we want to make, with all the details being in the geodes themselves, we want to make sure that each tier is as clean, level, and, well, basically clean and level as we can get it. So if you need to go ahead and if you get lost, I tell people this all the time, but if you get lost in your buttercream, like you just can't quite get it smooth, and the more you work with it, the worse it gets, just go ahead and pop it in your freezer for 10 minutes and then bring it back out again and do another coat. What happens is the coldness of the cake at this point will help your buttercream kind of firm up a little faster. And that way you get your smooth corners, your smoothness in the corners, the sharp corners a little bit more easily. Now, if you're new to the game, it might take you more than one time doing that. You might want to do thin coats and do a couple, like do maybe 3 coats if you need to. There are other methods out there on how to get the smooth sides and the crisp corners. My suggestion for people who are just kind of starting out or want to perfect their game a little bit, get those acrylic discs. Those work wonderful. Automatically your crisp corners and level sides and flat top are already built in. So I did a video on that a long time ago. I don't know if I even still have it up, just because I've changed my style a lot. I started doing videos a long time ago, like maybe 5 years ago, and life circumstances, I just couldn't keep doing it. And it was back then. So if you're interested, check back there. And we did the same thing with all 3 tiers. Now, none of my cakes are on their finishing boards, or the boards that I have underneath each tier is those plastic corrugated boards that you can get at like Hobby Lobby, places like that. I like to do that because that way it can firm up and I'm not getting my cake drums like the ones here. I'm not getting them overly wet because, I like to spray my buttercream while I'm working with it to get it smoother. And sometimes that water can saturate your boards a little bit. So I like to go ahead and have the cake board that's the size of the cake underneath the cake. And then I tape that onto those corrugated boards. But I first trim down the, if there's any overhang of the cardboard cake board underneath them, trim it off so it's flush with the side of your cake after your first crumb coat. Because then when you're doing your following layers of buttercream, you are hiding that board, first of all, and you're getting a really smooth finished look. So, these are things I don't always say, and I've got time to say this since we're prepping our cake here. You've seen me do this 100 times, so, just change it up a little bit. And I'm just doing straws in between each tier that are the height of the cake. The bottom tier, on a 3-tier, I like to do 5 of the harder plastic dowels, and then inside of that, I do 3 of the boba tea straws. Now, for the second tier, it's only supporting the weight of the top tier, so I feel safe doing 5 of the boba tea straws, and I don't bother with the harder plastic dowels, the thicker ones, but I do put a sharpened dowel through all of my layers, or all my tiers, and into the cake drum. It's a sharpened end. I just use a pencil sharpener on about a 1/4 inch thick dowel, wooden dowel, and just shove it on down there. Cut off the top, fill it in. Now here you'll see, okay, I had some frustration motions in the very beginning of this section, but I edited it out because thought I was filming, was not. So basically after it is set in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes, or 20 minutes, you can go back in and carve out your sections. I just use a sharp serrated knife, and you'll see that if you really want to see me do that. My other geode cakes, I will try to remember to add a link here. You see me do the whole process, but it's basically the same thing. Just carve out your shapes. And I wanted this to be kind of an angled, traveling up the front of the cake design. We didn't want to do too much of a heavy, just straight down one diagonal, heavy sugar crystal design. It's supposed to be a little bit more elegant, a little more delicate. So I did it this way. And then I just added some buttercream. Make sure you put enough buttercream on there that you don't see the cake underneath. Otherwise, it will show through your, I say a lot, will show through your sugar crystals. So try to make sure you have enough buttercream so that doesn't happen. And I'm just using the clear sugar crystals. These are store-bought. They're not quite exactly clear in my opinion. I think they have some kind of a coating on them to keep them from sticking to each other in the bag when you buy them. But you can kind of clear that up by putting some vegetable oil or some kind of a clear oil after you have it all done. This is at the very end. Kind of shines those up a little bit. And I like to start with, if I can, larger crystals in the middle and then trailing out to the smaller ones on the outside edge. And then sometimes I'll go back in and do bigger crystals on the outside, kind of a medium crystal on the outside edge, because that's typically where you're going to add your gold accents. And you want to see it, but you can do whatever you prefer to do. Everybody has a different style, so you figure out what you want to do. And if you hear piano playing in the background, my husband's playing the piano, and I don't know if you can hear it or not. Hopefully it's not copyrighted. I would do this through all of our carved out sections. Same thing for all of them. And since this is the same technique all the way up, why don't we just go ahead and skip to the last one. This one I had carved out on the edge of the top tier because I wanted it to wrap around the top. I knew they were going to only have a single simple gold topper on top. So I like to include a little bit of the design on the top as well. And now we're going to go ahead and add our color. You can use whatever color you want. Their wedding color was blue, was one of their colors, blue and gold. So what did I use? I think I just used sky blue. I think is all I used. With mixed with a little bit of Everclear. You can use vodka. You can use lemon extract works also. You just want to make a kind of a watercolor paint out of it. And make sure that it's deeper in the middle. What I like to do is do the middle section first and then add a little bit more of the liquid to it to make it a little less concentrated and blend it out a little further. And I left the outside edges white. I like to use, I would say it's a medium-sized brush. You can use one that, any kind of brush really would work, as long as it's small enough that you can work into those nooks and crannies, because that's something else. You want to make sure that you're getting enough on your nooks and crannies inside the rocks, because otherwise you're going to see white poking through. But again, don't add too much all at once, because it can, and they do tend to want to drip out of that bottom corner. So do layers, I guess would be my best advice there, is to do the layers till you get at the depth that you want. And there I'm adding a little bit more to add a little bit more depth. And go ahead and clean off your board. Apparently I thought I needed some more. I'm still not adding music to my background right now because YouTube, since I finally got my YouTube up and running, guys, I'm finally able to upload from my computer. I don't know if you knew, I was having an issue. I could not upload from my computer, so I was having to save my tutorials on a hard drive and then add it on my husband's computer, and I didn't have the option to add music as a background because, long story short, there's some things that need to be okayed on YouTube through a different computer in order to do that, and he didn't want me to do that. So now I've gotten used to not having music in the background. But in the meantime, they have changed how you upload music so that it's royalty free, and I haven't figured it out yet. So I don't know if I'll have it figured out by the time I get to getting this uploaded tonight. We'll see. And this is just gold luster dust mixed with some Everclear. Again, you can use vodka or the lemon extract. And then I'm using a finer, you could leave it right here, but I wanted to kind of combine the different geode sections together, make it one more, a little more of a cohesive look. So I'm adding just some fine lines of the gold kind of in between them, and a few little branches kind of sticking out from the sides at an angle to make it look a little bit more natural, I guess, is the best way to put that. And you can change the brushes. I add a fan brush. I use fan brush sometimes because that can kind of get you a little bit more of a kind of a speckled effect. It's not so much of a solid line. Makes it, again, look more natural. And here's our final look. I really love the blues in this. Blue is honestly my favorite color. And I love the simplicity of it. So I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you got something from it. And please take the time to subscribe if you have not done so. I have a new goal of 200K. That would be awesome. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.